There's a lot to learn about the market. It's changed drastically since it first opened more than 120 years ago. Thousands of new varieties have been introduced locally from around the world, and fruits that were once a rare luxury are now everyday items for many Kiwis. But one of the biggest challenges this industry now faces is the war on plastic.
It's an expensive commodity, it's $11 commodity, and someone has to be responsible for that, because there's a lot of people would like to store their stuff in their garage in one of those.
Yeah. What's the average life of one of those? Like how many?
Bridget, it's quite significant. The turn is.
It's about 5 years.
Yeah, significant.
Oh, okay.
That's Jerry Prendergast from MG Marketing, Bridget Coulson from Foodstuffs, and Anne-Marie Arts from Agri-Chain Centre, all talking to Minister Eugenie Sage. Right behind us are stacked boxes filled with apples. They're about to be exported, which is why they're in cardboard boxes. But Jerry says the industry hopes to move towards 100% use of reusable plastic crates. But, as Bridget points out, that's a challenge.
The crates, you can't get them back if you send it overseas in a crate, so you have no choice but to use cardboard. And it's the flip side for imported product, which comes in cardboard. So that requires a massive global solution. But we, for example, have a program around cardboard to crate for anything that we use within New Zealand. So we're talking to our suppliers saying, actually, that's in cardboard, needs to go to crate. So, for example, all of our capsicums this year are now in crates. So we've removed 21,000 boxes. Cardboard boxes.
The crate story in this industry is 28 years old, so it started about 28 years ago. It was a replacement from wood. I can remember the days of gnarly old wooden crates, which are just filthy.
Apple boxes.
Yeah, food safety risks, because there's a whole lot of positives about crates, about obviously the reuse, that's the really big one, but also then of course the food safety aspects are a major part of that too.
So how are they washed each time they're used? Is there a big?
Well, in theory, yes. It's a big industrial process, multi-million-dollar machinery, and there's a lot of work going on calibrating the machinery to make sure the water use is optimised, the energy, because it's all water, energy and chemical, which of course then all that ends up down the...
So it's a plastic version of the milk bottles, but for fruit and vegetables.
It's a plastic version of the milk bottle for fruit and vegetables. It's a 28-year story, which is one that we actually often forget we've got.
So what's the future for cardboard boxes in the industry?
I think you're already seeing the amount of cardboard in the fruit and vegetable sector is incredibly low by comparison.
Except
to
banana
other
boxes,
businesses.
which are great for moving house.
Of course, now that's an interesting point you make.
People love the
We've
banana.
got 6 million banana boxes that come into the country a year. And the banana box is an ideal box for ripening the bananas in as well. So that's an interesting point. And where's the future for banana boxes?
So are they better for ripening because they're cardboard and they might absorb the gases, or the plastic make the fruit sweet, or
you
what?
can do both in both situations. You can ripen them in a plastic, or you can ripen them in cardboard. From a returnable crate perspective, you're bringing in 6 million boxes of bananas a year. The cost to get those crates back and the whole template of moving that box back around the world has got its own problems,
yeah.
Never alone the logistics elements associated with it. So yeah, that's just part of that. You'll ripen them in both, and there's work being done on the practicalities of doing that. If you can actually piggyback back on ships that have got space, then there's some opportunities. So we're always looking at that.
Why are you shifting from cardboard boxes to plastic?
In the environment in New Zealand, it is still the most economical because you can get multiple turns of that crate, and you're not adding to the backroom environment where you've got too much cardboard, and for exactly the same purpose as you say, that it's not that easy to actually recycle the cardboard. Whereas a crate, once the end of that crate life, because it's a pure product in the way in which it is, as you were explaining, you can actually do something with that crate.
While consumers want the industry to move towards being 100% plastic-free, growers say that's not beneficial for everyone. In a closed meeting in which we were invited to observe, they expressed their concerns to the minister, and the frustration was clear.
Oh, you know what it is? It's that excuse me, I don't mean to be rude, but you've got government politicians making commercial decisions. And they just don't, there's a disconnect.
That's Paul Martin from New Zealand Gourmet, and if you missed it, he's talking about a disconnect between government ministers and growers on the ground.
The last 2 years, there's been this big push about get rid of plastic.
Yep.
Right? And plastic's the bad, there's the devil. Get rid of plastic, it's ruining the whole environment, right? And that we have to go to recyclable or more importantly compostable packaging is what everyone wants to see. So because we're a big plastic user, we do blueberries in plastic punnets.
Yes, they're using recycled
Yes.
PET, good. Yeah.
So, but still even with recycled PET, there's still this negative perception about using plastic.
Yeah.
So, and then we had pressure put on us to go to a compostable punnet with a top seal, which I really was not confident about. So for us to go to a compostable packaging, it's a whole, it becomes a major issue because first of all, cardboard punnets don't denest easily, so we have to work out how to denest them. And secondly, we have to get our heads around the top seal, which is a whole nother piece of equipment, big money.
The top seal is made of...
It's just a plastic
film.
So you've still got plastic in the mix, right? But now it's a plastic film versus a clamshell.
Paul says even compostable film is problematic as it takes much longer to break down. It creates a nightmare for recycling companies when accidentally thrown into recycling bins. New Zealand currently doesn't have the infrastructure to break it down either. So is cardboard the answer?
The wrong solution is trying to convert everything to cardboard because that just makes the problem worse. And it means you cut down all the trees, you've got all this...
pulp mills aren't exactly...
Yeah, I mean the chemical footprint that you leave when you produce cardboard is really bad. And you've got the whole public thinking that's the way you've got to go.
Paul's got a point. While supermarkets have replaced single-use plastic bags, options like brown paper bags are much worse on the environment. Environmental research in the UK revealed paper bags generate 70 more air pollutants and 50 times more water pollutants than plastic. It also takes 4 times as much energy to manufacture a paper bag compared to a plastic one. Paper bags leave a far greater carbon footprint than plastic bags. Growers argue that's why reusable plastics play an important role. But recycling systems are inconsistent across different cities in New Zealand. That's something Environment Minister Eugenie admits adds to the problem. Growers say there's so much confusion and the messaging needs to be clear to consumers.
It's about consistent messaging from everyone.
Yeah.
So it's a consistency thing from all sectors. But however much we try, or Paul says actually our pet's a great thing, it's not having the cut through. So that wider support from government, I think, would be helpful.
It's a full 100% approach as well from the government as well for the
and talk about the problems with cardboard, the reality, educate people on it. Cardboard, because everyone thinks cardboard's the solution.
So that's the second story I've heard along those lines. Government probably needs to give a message. We're either going to install infrastructure for compostables, commercial infrastructure, or discourage people from going down that path.
So what's Minister Sage taken away from this experience at the market?
We've made a good start in the last 2 years, but there's a long way to go. And it is ensuring that we have good curbside recycling systems, so we're working on that with the sector. And then when we get consistency across New Zealand, we can do more education on what consumers can do to do it better. I'm really encouraged by the amount of innovation in the sector, the experimentation, things like the bananas, wrap around those that's made of recycled sugarcane. And I guess it's packaging that needs to be able to survive with water, misting, but doesn't create unnecessary waste.